Hello, students. Welcome back for our third installment for this one. This is the extrude, and here's an old example. Not so great. I don't like this extrude. This is the one that we're going to work on today. I think it turns out a lot better. You can make it look like a rock. You can make it look like a mohawk. There's all kinds of different forms you can place on top of this, kind of pretend to pull out of the sphere. So here we go. I've got kind of a flat brush. I've got the kind of base color of the sphere, and I'm going to kind of draw a couple little shapes here. So I'm trying to just draw the shape. So think about our Doodad project. First, you're just drawing the shape. You're getting the shape right. Then you're trying to figure out, where does the light hit that shape? Where does the shadow hit that shape? So now I'm just thinking light and shadow. Where is it? Where does it go? Now we'll zoom in so we can kind of see it a little bit better. And I'm going to start using my eraser. I don't like this soft eraser, so I'm going to switch over, grab my hard eraser. There it is. And I'm going to make it smaller so I can kind of define the edge. And this is exactly what we did with our doodads. So that's kind of a good clue to what you should try to work on as you go through. I thought maybe I would try to kind of separate these a little bit. Then I didn't really like that. So I switched back to my brush, paint it in, kind of try to fix the top part of the shape. And once I have, more or less a base, and I think I've got that more or less here, I'm going to start to find those edges just a little bit more. So I'm going through finding kind of like a mixed color. Something that's not the light, something that's not the shadow. And then we're going to draw the shadows coming from the light source. These objects are sitting on top of our sphere. They're going to block the light, so we need to show the light that it's going to block. And so a lot of this part is kind of pushing and pulling. You're going back and forth, trying to find what do these shapes look like? What kind of edges, what kind of texture do I want these to have? Where does the light hit? Where does the shadow hit? Where does it go? Kind of maybe somewhere in between that. So that's mostly what I'm looking at, finding a lighter value and trying to bring that in so that it's brighter. So I'm trying to find the highlight, and then there's kind of like this pink light coming in from that far left side that we put on the sphere. So at this point, I've got to start to include that into the shadow side of these quote unquote doodads. Maybe after I kind of clean up the edges to where I want them. I try not to set out too many similar patterns, so I kind of started to do some jagged edge. I wanted these to more or less look kind of like they were made out of rock or something like that, but I don't know if that 100% happened. Here I'm kind of building up the shadows again, a little bit darker, thinking that that little form is kind of tucked behind the other one in front, the smaller one's behind the bigger one, and then kind of building up the shadow. And mostly what I'm doing from here on out is kind of building back. I'll get more shadow, build that in, get more light, build that in, see if there's any transitions I need to fix or kind of blend in between. And just looking for little places to go through and try to fix those. Trying to pick some of these lighter colors over here, kind of soften that edge over there on the side. Clean that one up a little bit, find those edges between those two, zoom out, take a look at the whole thing from farther away, then come back in and maybe focus on it again. Really going to push this pink here. It's kind of like a secondary light, so it's not as strong, but it catches the edges on the left of the big one. I don't really think it really affects the other one because I'm pretending like the one on the left is in front of the one on the right. maybe find a brighter version of that pink to kind of include into this. Make those edges a little softer by kind of finding a mixed color in between. So this is like the whole idea of our first project, the color mixing. So we're getting to the point where we're starting to kind of use all those little things. How does a doodad work into this project? How does a soft brush work? How do we create the edges? These spheres are more or less giant doodads, and we're just going to be a little more precise with them and maybe be a little more specific with how we use them. So that's the overall idea of this. I think I have some maybe softening and blending still to kind of put together, but for the most part, this is getting pretty close to what I would hope you could be able to pull off. Something similar to this. You can choose different shapes. This brush was problematic. I don't know why. It said mixer brush, so I thought I'll use this. And it works okay, but it didn't work great. It took me a little while before I kind of got a feel for how to use it and what to use it on. So for the most part, this is that end point, kind of looking everything over, trying to decide if I need to change anything, and go through and manipulate, any edges, sample, paint on top, clarify that edge. I wanted that light behind so that my shadow would push the whole object forward. So I think that's about where we're at. Zoom out, take a look at all these, and this is the extrude, and we'll see you for the whole, which is the next video coming up.